Armies of empires stretching back before the Middle Ages were slowly moving to Armageddon, and the beginning of wicked new orders of communist and fascist cruelty, dominions of political terror. The 100-Year War against tyranny continues today on three fronts. Like many, my journey started young. I worked on my first Liberal campaign in the 1989 Queensland state election. Like many on this side, I'm a graduate of the greatest political training school in this country, the Young Liberal Movement and the Australian Liberal Students' Federation. Our school community was the only one to actively campaign for their principal's retention. Our school community was the only one whose principal was eventually made redundant. Politics is about seeking power through democratic means in order to take power away from elites, whether bureaucratic or corporate, and return power to the people. I've been lucky in politics. I don't think I'm that good at politics, and I start with the greatest ever peacetime leader, Margaret Thatcher. I cannot forgive, and I will never forget, how communist and fascist regimes incarcerated generations through political terror. Former Territory Chief Minister Shane Stone, my old boss Boris, Mayor of London, the greatest campaign duo going, Mark Textor and Lytton Crosby, Campbell Newman, the voters of Queensland, Ron Boswell and Russell Trude in the gallery, Jamie Briggs, Scott Ryan, Simon Birmingham, Tony Barry, Du Bois, Seno Santoro and John Heron, the Liberal Party and the Liberal National Party, common thugs and torturers, destroyers of hope. Taught me all politics is local and timing matters. It wouldn't happen nowadays, would it, Fairfax? I've worked on a few campaigns. Their main focus is always be honest, be good and do good. Taxes on jobs and productivity, such as the payroll tax and company tax, must be abolished and reduced respectively. To cover the states for the loss of income from payroll tax, the GST should be broadened to cover everything, and the GST should also be increased to 15%. Tide grants should be abolished, with states to decide the priorities. A proportion of income taxes should be allocated to each state, with those states that push growth to be doubly rewarded. The states run the hospitals and schools. Why do we need to be involved? I'm calling for the abolition of the federal departments of health and education, with universities also to be run at a state level. The ABC has left people like me and my constituents behind. I want to support the ABC. I like the ABC. Yet while it continues to represent only inner-city leftist views, while funded by taxes, it is in danger of losing its social licence to operate. I'm calling for a review of the charter of the ABC, and if they fail to make inroads to restore balance, then the ABC should be sold and replaced by a regional and rural broadcasting service. In the meantime, Triple J, because of its demographic dominance and clear ability to stand on its own, should be immediately sold. Students, like anyone, should have the freedom to decide themselves whether or not they join a student body or union. I give notice I'll be moving a private member's bill to abolish the SAF and bring back true voluntary student unionism, and I hope all freedom lovers will join me in supporting this bill. People will say hurtful and bigoted and stupid and dumb things. People will make racist and sexist and homophobic comments. The views are wrong. But the right to express them is not. The left always want to control and brutalise. The Australian people are a pretty sensible bunch. They always make the right decisions when it comes to elections. And for my love and sometimes overindulgence of Bundy rum, Senator McDonald, who entered this chamber when I was still in high school, who advised me the other day to do as he says but not as he does. I started my speech in 1914, and I'll conclude in the 1940s over the skies of Nazi-occupied France. By power of the word, I regained my life. I was born to know you and to name you liberty.
Curse must be banished from our society.